What is the oldest living thing in Jamaica? Obviously it's a tree, but which tree? You see, there are countless gigantic ancient trees in Jamaica. Some are even mentioned in the historical records and have a name, like Tom Cringle's tree near Kingston, which was once considered the biggest and oldest of them all. It was so famous that people travelled from across the world just to catch a glimpse of this giant. But Tom Cringle's tree doesn't exist anymore. It died half a century ago. So what is the oldest tree in Jamaica today? We found one, and it appears to be even bigger than Tom Cringle's tree ever was. Unlike many notable trees in Jamaica, this one is hidden in a remote rainforest, and most Jamaicans are unaware of its existence, except for those in nearby communities. We discovered it by chance. While doing some research in St.Catherine Parish, we were lucky to meet Mr. Kennedy Reed, a local historian, tour guide and writer, who introduced us to this magnificent tree.
Come along. Very overgrown, it looks like. We come with a machete. Come with a machete next time. Now, please don't quote me on this, but I think this is the oldest cotton tree and the largest cotton tree in Jamaica. It's hundreds of years old. Look at the buttress, look at the width. And I think that this needs to be preserved. Please, I'm begging somebody, buy the property around it and preserve this for Jamaica's natural heritage. Oldest living thing in Jamaica. Well, let me walk up this side because it's hard to get it in one go, Hard to get it in one go. The fact that it has these buttresses, this indicates when you see a cotton tree with this kind of buttress, it actually means that it's hundreds of years old. It would have seen the Taino, it would have seen the Africans, it would have seen the Indians, it would have seen the English, everybody would have seen this tree. This tree has to be protected.
So who is the owner of this land right now?
The Gilpin Hudsons.
Okay, and they have preserved it so far?
So far, how do I get attention for this? I don't know, and it needs to be urgent because the Gilpin Hudsons are selling off parts of their land, and this might go anytime. Now, somewhere in this area, we believe the slaves would have also had their huts, and also because it's close to the estate.
Yes. But man, the roots it's like the gigantic roots. Just look at the root size. Just look. And this is a smaller part. Look at this big part over here. I don't know how to, AJ, can you give the perspective? It's like a wall, right? And this is the root of the tree, look. I was hoping that once we get to this tree again, we'd be able to measure it. And with silk cotton trees, because they have this beautiful root system, the measurement is usually done just above the roots in order to get the idea of how thick the trunk is. And this way, it would be possible to identify approximately how old the tree might be. The problem is, of course, that with this particular tree, as soon as the roots end, we get the branches. So in order to reach the trunk, we actually have to climb all over those branches. And each of these branches is like one big tree in itself. So I'm trying to figure out, it's actually quite difficult to figure out where the trunk is, because this is not the trunk, these are the roots. So where is the trunk? And it looks like the trunk is so thick because of the branches that you can't really identify it. And I'm not quite sure how to measure it. In this case, you need special equipment because the tree is so big you can't even climb it. That branch is huge. I don't understand how it is even holding because it's so big. It's like a horizontal tree over there. You see? It's amazing. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
The silk cotton tree is indigenous to the tropical Americas, including Jamaica. It is neither true silk nor cotton, but its name derived from the fluffy, silky fibers that surround the seeds. These fibers are also known as kapok, can be used as stuffing for pillows and mattresses, and served as an insulation material. They were even used in life vests during World War I due to their buoyancy. We know that the Taino, the indigenous people of Jamaica, used the massive trunks of these trees to make canoes. Here is an example of one dug out in Jamaica. It is one of the largest and most visually spectacular indigenous trees, and its age can be estimated by examining its size, particularly the diameter of its trunk. Cotton trees are actually known for their rapid growth from 1.5 to 3 centimeters in diameter per year, depending on soil quality, rainfall, and competition. This tree was measured sometime in 2011, and it was found that the diameter of the trunk is 5.62 meters. I cannot verify if this measurement is accurate, but if it is, then this particular tree is at least 200 years old today, and at most 400 years old, which means it was born around the early 1600s.
Cotton trees also hold deep cultural and spiritual significance in Jamaica. There was a time when many people believed that these trees were a dwelling place for spirits or ghosts, leading them to avoid cotton trees at night. While during the daytime, when visiting these trees, people might give offerings, such as Jamaican rum, to show they came in peace, avoiding angering the spirits. Even today, this is sometimes done for fun, but in some cases, people genuinely mean it. These beliefs likely stem from a blend of several African traditions with those of the local Taino, both of which regarded the trees as sacred connections between the physical and spiritual worlds. But even for those who don't believe in the supernatural, the size and beauty of cotton trees make them a natural wonder and a living monument to centuries of Jamaican history.
Jamaica has always had a number of giant trees. Some are almost legendary, like Halfway Tree, for example. Today it's the name of the capital of St.Catherine Parish, but it is believed that the name derives from a cotton tree that doesn't exist anymore, but was located at the crossroads not too far from the St. Andrew's Parish Church. The story of the tree is so intriguing that it deserves a separate short video that is coming out soon. As for the living big and old cotton trees all across Jamaica, to be honest, it would take a very long video to list them all, so here are just a few honorable mentions.
The tree in Portland, that might be one of the tallest cotton trees on the island. There is another one in St. Anne with some beautiful roots overtaking the fence. This giant cotton tree sits right at the Royalton Hotel in Negril and has become a popular spot for tourists to take pictures. Another popular tourist attraction is the silk cotton tree by the Roaring River. The biggest of all I could find is the cotton tree in Westmoreland that has an absolutely remarkable root structure. I'm not sure if it can match the size and age of the tree we found in St. Catherine, but it's surely pretty close. It's not only cotton trees though. There is also a very big mango tree located in Accompong, St. Elizabeth. This tree is known as Kinder Tree, which is considered a sacred tree by the Maroons, and it has survived to this day. The Maroons refer to it as a unity tree or one family tree, and it is said that their leaders back in the 19th century frequently held meetings under this tree, and the tradition continues today.
There is also a notable cotton tree at Up Park Camp in Kingston. This particular photograph comes from 1914, but the tree was mentioned multiple times in historical records way before that, indicating that by now it would have been at least 200 years old. So, what happened to this tree? Well, it might actually still be there. The problem is that this land today is the Jamaica Defence Force's headquarters. It's a military base. When we came to the gate, lots of armed military guards. I showed this photo to them and asked, if we could just drive through to see if the tree was still there. And they looked kind of confused, and their only question was, Why? Turned out we needed permission to enter. So I thought, should I send an official request to the Jamaica Defence Force to have permission to enter their military base, their headquarters, for the purpose of looking at a tree? Maybe not. Come on, it's a YouTube video. All I'm supposed to be doing is just Googling stuff and putting it out there. At least that's what some people think YouTubers do, and who cares if it's accurate? Well, I care and our patron sponsors care, so let's take just a moment to thank these wonderful people who are investing their hard-earned cash to support our YouTube channel and patiently waiting for each of our videos that take me forever to make. These people are the reason why I always go the extra mile with my research to ensure that the information we post here is accurate and not something anyone can just Google. So once again, huge thanks to our patrons. If you'd like to join them and also support our media project, you can do so on Patreon from only $5 a month. Now back to that tree. Of course, not having an access to a military base is not an excuse. So here is the video from 2020 of that place when it was closed for renovation. And here is our main tree suspect right next to the Garrison Church. It looks like the same location and a similar tree shape to the one in the old photo. Is it the same tree? Remember, there is a 106-year difference between these two images. If any of my subscribers work at this military base and can confirm if this tree is still there, let us know in the comments below. The reason why this specific tree in Up Park Camp is so important is not because of its age, but because of its historical and cultural significance. Here is why. The most iconic tree ever known in Jamaica to date is the so-called Tom Cringle's tree, which was located along the main road between Kingston and Spanish Town. This is one of the earliest photographs of the original Tom Cringle's tree taken by the Royal Geographical Society in 1891. However, probably the most famous images of Tom Cringle's tree were produced by the Duperley and Sons photo studio around 1905. One of their photographs was later turned into a colourful postcard, though with a spelling mistake, calling it Tom Pringle's tree instead of Tom Cringle's. There were many more photographs of this tree in the 20th century, which were later turned into postcards, making Tom Cringle's tree one of the top tourist attractions in Jamaica at the time. In fact, the Jamaican Tourist Board won an award in the United States for its advertising campaign in 1969 featuring a photograph of Tom Cringle's tree. This giant tree was so famous that its name became like a generic term in Jamaica, sometimes applied to any big cotton tree, even today. But which of these trees is actually the original Tom Cringle's tree? Is it only this one? You see, Tom Cringle never existed. It's the name of a fictional character from an adventure novel set in the Caribbean called Tom Cringle's Log. It was written by a Scottish author from Glasgow, Michael Scott, who lived in Jamaica from 1806 to 1822. Tom Cringle's Log was published in the 1830s and became an instant success. In those days, there was no photography, so readers were fascinated by the vivid description of Jamaica, including the part about giant cotton trees. There were actually two mentioned in Tom Cringle's Log right here. This is what Michael Scott wrote.
I had occasion at this time to visit Up Park Camp, a military post about 1.5 miles from Kingston. It was immediately after the rains when I visited it. The grass was luxuriant and newly cut, and the trees, which grew in detached clumps, were most magnificent. We clambered up into one of them, a large, umbrageous wild cotton tree, which cast a shadow on the ground, the sun being right overhead, of 30 paces in diameter.
So, the first cotton tree mentioned in Tom Cringle's Log is actually the tree at Up Park Camp. This tree. If it's still there, it would be the only living, original Tom Cringle's tree today. That's why I said there is more to this tree than just its age. But of course, it's the other original Tom Cringle's tree that became famous. It's the one that Michael Scott describes as overhanging the Spanish Town Road with 100 feet shadow and 20 feet diameter.
For I have measured others whose gigantic shadows at the same hour were upwards of 150 feet in diameter, and their trunks, one in particular, that overhangs the Spanish Town Road, 20 feet through of solid timber. That is, not including the enormous spurs that shoot out like buttresses and end in strong, twisted roots that strike deep into the earth and form stays, as it were, to the tree in all directions.
Unfortunately, on the 18th of January 1971, this iconic tree collapsed, and there had been quite a bit of a drama that preceded this sad event. Just a few years before, a brand new sign was erected by the Jamaica Tourist Board, marking its importance, and the photos you see now were taken in 1967. One of the key reasons why this tree became so famous is the fact that it was right by the main road, and this is also what killed it, because eventually the 2-lane road had to be expanded to 4 lanes to accommodate growing traffic.
In August 1969, the contract was signed for the Kingston Spanish Town Highway project, and the groundbreaking ceremony took place at the end of September that same year. Ironically, at Tom Cringle's cotton tree. But don't get it wrong, they were not planning to destroy the tree. Apparently, they even moved a part of the highway slightly south to preserve it. In February 1970, the representatives of these organizations met by the tree to ensure it was protected. And indeed, a diversion in the road was made, and in the end, only one limb of the tree had to be removed. But the problem is, cotton trees have sprawling below-ground roots, and some must have been damaged during the highway digging. When the tree collapsed, it turned out that the trunk was hollow inside, which led to the official version the tree had died a natural death. The Gleaner reported plans to turn the parts of the tree into souvenirs, but the stump and larger pieces lay by the roadside for years, and I wonder what happened to those remains, or to the exact place where the tree was standing. Is there like a sign or something? We decided to go there and check it out.
Historical records place Tom Cringle's tree in an area known as Ferry, near the modern-day Ferry police station, located right here. In the old photographs, the mountains in the background indicate that most photos were taking place in Kingston, so the tree stood on the opposite side of the road from the police station. We can see there was a sharp right turn in the road, and comparing with the old maps, suggests the tree was located somewhere around here, slightly to the west from the police station. There's also a photo of the collapsed tree with distinctive buildings in the background, which appear to be the original Water Commission plants. These buildings, though renovated, are still visible today, along with the mountains in the background from this spot, which means the tree was somewhere right here.
The thing is, there was another highway expansion recently in 2018, taking it from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. So even though originally there was a diversion around the place of the tree, it is now completely buried under the new highway. So imagine the surprise we had when we actually found the remains of a huge cotton tree, overgrown and decomposing for years, right by the side where Tom Cringle's cotton tree was.
Okay, so this overgrown area right here, like it looks like a big wall, but in reality, this is actually a fallen tree. So this is like where the trunk could be, and these are all the pieces of the tree, all the way down, all the way up there. If you clear the overgrown area, you would see that there are 2 big branches over there, and they're all super old and like empty inside. Look at that.
You might be thinking what I was thinking. What if these are the remains of the original Tom Cringle's tree? I mean, what are the odds of finding the remains of a giant cotton tree in the exact same location where the giant cotton tree collapsed? But it's not like we're going to clear the side to have a better look at the tree, right? You know, for a simple YouTube video.
It looks like the bottom of the tree is right there, and these are like huge, huge branches, and it is hollow inside, everywhere. Look at it. You see? It's completely rotten out. We also found that carriage here. Look. Hello, little fella. Do you happen to know if that's Tom Cringle's tree? No? You have no clue, aren't you? Too young, eh? You're too young to remember. Okay, guys, so this giant tree was definitely brought here. I don't think it was growing here, but it was cut into pieces and just dumped here with the help of a bulldozer. Why? Because it's all covered in a lot of soil over there. So like a lot of branches are half in the ground, so they're like growing into the soil now. And they're falling apart and deteriorating.
And the verdict for the tree remains is, this is not Tom Cringle's tree. Unfortunately, it just cannot possibly be. Hardwood trees like mahogany, even if untreated, might take about a century to decompose, but softwood trees like cotton trees, even giants like Tom Cringle, in the Jamaican climate would take a maximum of 30 years to decompose completely. And it's been almost 54 years, so no chance. Maybe I should have Googled this first before, the machete workout. Anyway, the tree we found looks like it collapsed a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, not 50. And, there are still a lot of cotton trees in that area, so it makes sense some would collapse.
The original Tom Cringle's tree at Spanish Town Road was considered one of the largest trees, if not the largest tree, to ever exist in Jamaica. However, judging by the photographs, the tree we found in the rainforest in St. Catherine Parish is about the same size as Tom Cringle's tree, or even bigger, and it might be just as old. How can we make sure that this tree doesn't share the same fate as Tom Cringle's tree?
I seriously hope that there is an organization in Jamaica that can take care of this tree and make sure that it is protected. I don't know if it can be used for tourism, but for anyone who loves nature and wants to see this incredible tree, it might be worth coming here.
From the comments I've noticed, many Jamaicans want to explore their country, but often lack the opportunity. Many places like this tree are hard to find, and transportation is expensive, even with your own car, given Jamaica's fuel prices. Others might not even have a car. And the tourism industry in Jamaica mainly targets foreign visitors, leaving domestic tourism quite limited. So let's try a solution. My dear subscribers, would you like to come with me? I'm organizing our very first subscribers-only excursion that will feature a visit to this tree, as well as 3 other important historical locations in St. Catherine Parish. The tour includes transportation, a professional guide, Mr. Kennedy Reed, who you've already met in this video, and me as an additional guide, plus some Jamaican rum for the tree. The tour is from Kingston on the 18th of January 2025. We have over 130,000 subscribers, but only 20 seats are available for this date, so please, if you'd like to join, please do so now. There is a charge for the tour to cover the costs of transportation and guides. It is 7,000 Jamaican dollars per person, or 45 US dollars. If you've seen tour prices in Jamaica, you know just how cheap this is, and that's because I'm trying to make it as affordable as possible. On the way back to Kingston, we'll make a quick stop to pay tribute to Tom Cringle's tree at the place where it collapsed on the 18th of January 1971. So it would be precisely 54 years. For all the details and how to book the tour, please visit this page. The link is also in the description and pinned comment. Remember, we have only 20 seats, so if you wish to join, do so now. And then you can check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.